In the first day's discussions at Llandudno, that milestone on the way back, delegates to the Conservative and Unionist Conference assembled outside the Pier Pavilion and observed many of the notable leaders who were presently to address them. Lord Salisbury, for example, and Mr. Walter Elliot, Mr. Oliver Stanley was to reply to the resolutions about imperial policy. This is what he said.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's make it quite plain. We Conservatives don't stand here today in any white sheet. We have no apologies to make for what we have done for the Empire in the past. It is, of course, the fashion now to say otherwise. All left-wing propagandists spend all their time saying that nothing was ever done for the Empire until this government came into power. That the first figures in the imperial Valhalla are Noel Baker and Creech Jones.
In ironic vein, Mr. Stanley went on to compare socialist schemes with a few of the achievements of private enterprise under Conservative encouragement in building up our empire overseas.
It's difficult for us to set up against that the development of the Rhodesian copper mines, the development of the rubber industry in Malay, the development of the tin industry in Malay, of gold and cocoa in the Gold Coast, of oil in Trinidad, all things which were done without costing the taxpayer a penny, which were done at the risk and very often at the loss of private enterprise, and which have resulted in infinite benefits, not only to us here at home, but to the people of the colonies in which those developments were taking place. There have been, quite rightly, insistent calls that as we have published documents to deal with such important facets of our national policy as industry and agriculture, we should follow it up with a no less important, indeed a far more important facet, that of our imperial relations. And I can assure the conference that work is far advanced, and that under Mr. Butler you may expect before very long another document, one more of those children which he produces at the customary interval.
Mr. Stanley has referred to Mr. Butler and the charters for which he is responsible. Mr. Butler's own subject at the conference was the agricultural charter.
I trust that this conference will endorse the agricultural charter as the conference last year approved the industrial charter. The only difference I ask is that on this time there shall not be 3 dissentients, but that the vote shall be unanimous. You were kind enough to welcome the first child. Here is the second child. There are 2 others on the way. I noticed that our critic, the News Chronicle, was kind enough to have a cartoon of me on the pier here, gazing into one of those machines which you wind round, with the caption below, "What the Butler Saw." I am popularly supposed in the party to be a very serious, intellectual type of person. Therefore, I will not tell you what I really saw, because it might destroy one of those painfully built-up reputations for that type of seriousness. But what I see in the future of agriculture is this, and I see it because of the criticisms that I have noticed in certain, I think, too clever sections of our population. And that is the criticism that we are aiming for too high a place for agriculture in the national economy. In my opinion, the battle for agriculture, to find the farmer, the farm worker, the partnership of landlord, tenant and worker, a final place in British economy, has not yet been won in this country. And it is our strength, the strength of the Conservative Party, which is the greatest dependable force at the present time behind the campaign to give agriculture its final and definite place in our economy. That place is needed for a variety of reasons, partly to balance our payments, partly to give us that fresh food which we so much need, and partly, I think, to save the country way of life. In saving agriculture, we are saving more than our own economy or than a particular industry. We are saving a way of life in which the features are kindliness, freedom, enterprise, and above all, wisdom. These are the qualities of the countryman and countrywoman. They are instinct in conservative policy. They are vital to our development. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to endorse the Charter and see that these great qualities are maintained as part of our national character.